looking good, Italian Job.
I'm feeling good, Tommy boy. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm great. Full heart, a little bit of a hurt heart for the past couple of weeks, but full.
Yeah.
One of those opportunities where it hurts to rip the Band-Aid off and life happens, but on the other side of it, you realize how full of gifts we are, right? Here locally in Greensboro, North Carolina, we lost a sergeant in the police force off duty, was trying to stop a kid, literally convincing a minor rather, to not shoplift a 6-pack out of a local gas station. And they pulled a gun and shot him. He did not make it, and it's just tragic. The city, the community, the county, the region has really rallied around this family. A local nonprofit jumped in, paid off his mortgage.
Wow.
So again, all these things that out of a tragedy, the phoenix is humanity.
Yeah.
So I think my takeaway there is stop listening to news radio tell you how awful the world is, and remember that you're surrounded by people who want to make it a better place. And we got together with the local PD today and stood shoulder to shoulder with a lot of his former colleagues and hosted a hero wad at the police station parking lot. Took it all over downtown, and news came out. I mean, it was just an outpouring of love and support, which we did not plan. The only thing we planned was we lit the fire, right? And then the folks showed up to get warm, and that's what it was. So that's a long way to say I'm doing much better than I deserve, I'm sure. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. Today is Groundhog Day, so I'm dating this show as I say that. But I'm a big fan.
Yesterday was Groundhog Day.
Yeah, well, that's the great thing about Groundhog Day. It just keeps coming back around on a repeat on the circuit. So this morning I led a discussion on some elements, some themes from Groundhog Day and how it relates to your faith, how your personal faith. Had 20 guys at what we call Bibles and Biscuits. We meet up at the local diner and grab something to eat, and we have some great conversation. So had good talk this morning, had a great workout with a big group of guys. It was a good day. It was a good morning. It's great to start your morning off with your brothers. And one of the things that you notice is we keep hearing so frequently they're giving up because they just don't feel like they have an outlet, or they don't feel like they have friends, or that they don't have anybody to turn to. And you and I, gosh, how lucky are we? I mean, we are blessed in that any morning of the week, we can post anywhere in the country, and you're beside somebody who's going through what you're going through, has gone through what you're going through, or will go through what you're going through, but you're always supported and loved. So you want to talk about, being blessed. That's it, man.
Yeah.
And that kind of ties into what we're talking about today. And that's purpose, right? That's what we're going with today.
Yeah, 100%. Using our F3 parlance, and then we'll pull big picture, right? We're talking about the Dolphin and the Daffodil, the D2X, and what does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the book because the book is a great read. You can pick up a copy of Free to Lead, and that takes you into Q Source, right? Yep. There it is, in front of God and everybody, on the Amazons, on the Googles. There is a chapter in there about exactly this conversation, but you discover the idea of the dolphin and the daffodil and where those two intersect. The dolphin, again, very brief description, so please forgive my brevity, but here we go. The dolphin is a mammal that is born to swim. It has evolved to become nature's best swimmer. You talk about great whites, right? And I've seen an orca mess up a great white in a heartbeat. I've seen a dolphin make an orca second guess its life choices, right? Yeah. So these things are a muscle of the ocean. And then you think about the daffodil, and the daffodil is tended to by a gardener, right? It thrives because it's provided with what it needs to thrive. And so what is your purpose, your dolphin, and where does that intersect with your daffodil? And that is the D2X.
Yeah.
So to take it back real quick, last year, end of the year, in November, went to Fort Bend to be a part of that Grow Ruck experience in Fort Bend. Got to meet and instantly bonded with the guys who drove down from Wichita. They're insane, but like is drawn to like. And so with my insanity, I was drawn to them. Have watched these guys bloom and grow as they develop their region, drawn to them. I get to be with them here later this month. And I'm just excited to jump in the deep end with them as they're on fire right now in their region. So with that, I fanboyed out with this gentleman in between you and I on my screen, at least, and have constantly kind of been pinging several of those guys. Chop is one, Pringles is another. Just kind of, hey man, what's on your head? What's on your heart as you guys are growing and expanding and reaching more and more men and literally just blowing up as a region? Because I remember what it was like being in that same space, right? And that's where the magic truly happens if you are able to capture the lightning in the bottle. And so I got a message out of the blue from Pringles here, said, I've got an idea. I want to talk about purpose. and what that means to me and how I'm trying to endeavor in such a way to help others discover their purpose. So, Pringles, I don't want to say anything else other than welcome to the Stuff Worth Trying show. Let's get into it. We'll start with Name-a-rama. Your born name, your age, your F3 name, and how you got Pringles. Although, if you're watching, I don't think it's a mystery.
You can tell why. You can tell why.
Right on. Right on. Well, I'm Glendon Thompson, 48, Pringles. That's what I always do in the goofy videos. But yeah, at my first beat down, the guy's asking you all the questions. What do you do? Where do you work? Embarrassing moments and stuff. And one of the guys piped in and said, "He looks like the guy on the Pringles can." And I was like, oh, man, I don't even like Pringles. And guess what? Here we are 2 years later, and it's become a thing, and I love it.
Awesome.
Outstanding.
I love that.
Yeah, well, I want to give you the floor because you and I, one of my favorite moments of the very brief time that we've spent together was in between one of the breaks at what we call Grow School. So this is all classroom portion. Yeah. We're pouring out knowledge, what we call head knowledge, that ideally you guys will take with you through the endurance portion of the event and the experience and turn that head knowledge into heart knowledge. And when we talked about self-care as well as care for others in a very real sense, who here is a first responder, if things go sideways throughout the endurance portion, who is able to assist. And I don't think I took a half a sip out of my bottle of water thinking it was break time, and you were right there saying, "Hey man, I've got some background that I'd like to share with you if I can be an asset." And normally we're supposed to say, "We want you to experience the experience. Let us take care of it." But you said it in such a compelling way that it really just woke me up to this guy's got something different about his soul that I want to hear more about. So why don't we give you the floor? Talk a little bit about your background and what you do in the real world, we'll call it, and how that ties into you seeking purpose.
Oh, right on.
Oh, nice! By the way, nice patch there. As all my friends say, being an asset, but IJ is showing my all-time favorite patch, which is be an asset.
Yeah,
floor is yours, Pringles.
I appreciate that. That actually is a very good segue. My career, I'm a firefighter. Been doing that for about 23 years now, professionally. And that is a bit of a theme, be an asset. When we set a ladder to go up on a house, the guy at the bottom is heeling the ladder, right? And now one methodology is you go under the ladder and hold it so it doesn't slide out. You've got a helmet on. You're protecting yourself and holding that ladder. Other than that, you really can't do much. The other concept is you go on the other side of the ladder, still with your protective equipment on, but you're looking up and you're watching what's happening above you to watch your friend that's up there, the guy you're supposed to be watching his back. That's the difference between being an anchor and being an asset. You're actively doing your job, but you're also participating in what's going on, right? My background is a firefighter. Been doing it for quite a while. It's given me a lot of great opportunities. Love the job, love the career. You see a lot of really tragic things, but you also see some really beautiful moments as well. Alongside of that, I'm very active at church. I do youth camps as well. And one of the things that totally shocked me was as I go into these youth camps, some of these kids would come to me with problems that were very heavy. I'm not just, I'm struggling at school or, my brother and sister this. It's, trying to be very gentle with this, but, when you have young women talking to you about incest, about rape, about bullying at school to the point of contemplating suicide, which, we'll talk more about that later. And these are young people dealing with this, very real, very adult situations. Or how do I provide for my siblings when mom and dad are out of the picture and I'm left to fend for them myself? The other thing that kind of took me by surprise, I'm doing youth camps. I'm expecting this, from kids a little bit, but then I'd get parents come to me, hey, my wife just left me. My marriage is on the skids. My job's trash. I'm having trouble connecting with the kids. Can you help me with that? So I realized pretty quickly that it was going to require more of me than just simply a listening ear. And because of that, I decided that I was being led into a different path. So as I age out in the fire world, I'll be retiring here before too long. Then I'm going to transition into therapy, becoming a clinical mental health counselor. And so to do that has been giving me some more skills and abilities to help people work through things in a little different way as well. Just being able to reach out to people to serve. And I think that's probably where 90% of this comes from. I've been called to a life of service. And frankly, that's kind of where we're all at. It's where we all need to be. anyhow, with an attitude of, not to sound cliche, but an attitude of gratitude, thankfulness for who we are, what we have, what we've been given, even in the struggles and the hard times, and being service oriented. But that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm a husband and a father, been married for 24 years, have 3 wonderful kids, 21, 19, and 15. And, I've just been given a lot of opportunity, and I feel a great responsibility and a desire to serve and to learn.
We never really plan these shows out. We a lot of times, for those who are watching this, people say, "Man, you guys have a great producer and everything." A lot of this stuff is literally we hit record and what comes out comes out, and we like to call those sky cue moments when things come up. So I want to give you an opportunity. I want to share with you guys something that I wrote this morning. We did not plan this. Okay, this just happened in parallel. Like I said earlier, we did life lessons from the movie Groundhog Day. And the second life lesson that I had on my list is a life of service will bring true joy. So that's what eventually happens to Phil Connors in the movie Groundhog Day. He stopped serving himself and instead used his endless repetition to pursue new interests, learning how to play the piano and pursue and to serve others, sometimes preventing tragedies, the child falling out of a tree, the man choking on dinner. The time trap ends seemingly when he is content to enjoy the day as given, and he has developed a genuine pleasure in serving himself to others. So he goes all the first half of the movie of self-service, the things that make him feel good, and he realizes it's a bottomless trap that just never happens. He finally comes out of this cycle when he realizes my job on this earth is to provide, to take care, to give my service to others. And that's exactly when we talk about that Dolphin and Daffodil, the thing you were just born to do and the person or people you were born to serve. And when you hit that high impact zone right there in the middle, that's when we start finding pure joy, not happiness, that's fleeting, but that joy. And it seems that Pringles, that's what you've hit, man. You've found that spot where you have gifts, you have passions, and you have people. And when you were able to pull all those things together, man, it's amazing what can happen. So I'm excited for the next time we talk to see what has actually come of it, because you're just scratching the surface. Tommy boy, you're gnashing at the bit over there. I know you've got something to say. I've known you long enough.
I've been doing a lot of study lately on the hero's journey, which is a cinematic tool, right, for the longest time. But there's a lot to be said about that whole cycle. And one of those is purpose, a universal narrative structure in which a goal-directed protagonist confronts obstacles, overcomes them, and eventually reaps rewards. And so every time we talk about kind of as we age, right, you talked about you're about to retire, Pringles. As we do this, as this happens, when I go through this experience, that whole hero's journey, and now even you could go deeper, and there's kind of a sub-psyche level called the heroine's journey, which dives into emotion and grit. Really exciting stuff, at least for me. I dork out about that, but all these things as you guys talk are coming out. Pringles, we put you to the test that evening, that overnight for golly. You guys got a bonus hour too, because it was a daylight savings day.
Time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got one more extra hour for your money. But through it all, it just gets harder and harder and harder. There is no mercy. And most guys are used to doing the physical fitness test early on. One of the first couple hours. You guys did it, I think it was around 2 a.m., if I remember. So you'd already been through the ringer. And oh, by the way, let's see if you can hold your standard compared to the Army and the Special Forces. You obviously found a purpose within your Wichita group that came down. But then when we busted that apart, what is your go-to when you're in a smoke-filled room or you're getting sandbags lobbed at you in an overnight endurance? Whether you're around familiar faces or not, is there a common thread? Is there a bass note going through your mind at that moment?
Oh, man. Yeah, when you're training to do difficult things, learning how to the mental aspect is probably the most powerful, right? You can overcome any obstacle just thinking through it, realizing that it's only temporary. This is momentary. One of the biggest things I tell people when I get to give, fire safety talks to either senior group or kids or whatever, you just remember, if you can breathe, you're going to be fine. This is not pleasant for a moment. To think of what the Bible says, these things are momentary afflictions, but they're working good in you to develop you, to strengthen you. So when those times are hitting hard and you've got all kinds of physical pain, maybe emotional pain, maybe working through those things, frankly, remember, if you can breathe, you're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel good right now. But I guess for me, that's kind of where I reside is, okay, I'm powering through. We're making progress. One of the big themes of that whole night was fail forward, right? Even in those moments, you may fail. You may have struggles. Something may not go just right, but fail forward. You have to. When you're in a smoke-filled environment looking for a victim, I don't have a choice. This is not me, oh, I don't feel very good, I'm going to check out. This, you're committed, and that's what you're literally getting paid to do. So get in there and do your job. When you're, at 2:00 in the morning at Grow Ruck, it's not me doing my job. It's me realizing, okay, I put myself into this, and now me and my buddies, I got to help carry this log. I have to guide these fellows through this. If I make a mistake, I may catch some grief, but it's okay. We're going to get through this. I'm failing forward. That concept has to be a mindset for you. All the while keeping your wits about you, not melting down, not giving into that emotion, not giving into that mindset of woe is me, life is terrible, and I think I'm just done. Well, that's where we get into other issues, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in those moments specifically, those acute moments of the necessity of mindset and overcoming that's where the internal strength comes out. And where do we get that? But through trial, error, guidance, and provision.
That's so good, man. Tommy boy, I know that you've gone through some hard, heavy things in recent months, recent weeks, recent days. Where do you go? Where do you tag into, like you said, that anchor point for you, that base note, when it's dark, uncomfortable, it's high stress, low visibility, it's everyone's in full freak out mode and something must be done. Somebody should do something. Well, and you, knowing you are that somebody that does something. Where does that come from? Like, what do you tap into to get through those dark moments?
Well, I think you've certainly have flattered me, because I, like everybody else, want to stay in bed and not face what's out there. Whether it's a loss, whether it's just a bad series of days, whether it's a project that fell apart at the office, whatever it is. But I know two things: that if I don't kick the covers off, I will be even more upset with myself, which means the sandbag just got heavier. And odds are I'm due for a phone call from one of my F3 brothers. Where the heck are you?
Yeah. We
missed you yesterday and today, and we better see you tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And as we have said before, when you find a community that is invested in you and loves on you and expects the same in return, there's never a day that you regret being in that community.
Yeah.
It may be hard to get to it, right? To show up at the powwow or to arrive at the workout or whatever it is, crack the book on that you didn't read for the book study. But you're still grateful when you walk away from those experiences. And ideally, if you do it right, you believe in the process, much like Pringles just said, you're going to reap the rewards from it, right? There's going to be, if you just keep breathing, this is a temporary thing. The only permanent thing is that we have any control over, right, is our attitude and our actions.
That's right.
So I don't know if I have a bass note other than I know that if I strap the instrument on, it'll eventually make some noise, right?
Yeah.
And easier said than done. But when you build that as your habit, right, when that becomes your go-to flex, then the sandbag becomes that much lighter. Yeah. So how about you? Is there I know that you enjoy writing. I know that you enjoy engaging with others in conversation. Is that it, or is there something else?
Well, I realize in those darkest times that I'm not in those dark times by myself. And that also helps me to realize that I'm not in the woods in danger by myself. I have other people who are there beside me to help shoulder that load, to help me get through them. When it's the darkest times, and I'm talking the times where I'm questioning, why am I here? I'm unqualified. I'm not strong enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not the guy who should be doing this thing. I realize there's got to be a why. Why am I doing this? Am I just trying to be the baddest guy around, or am I doing this because at some point I won't be able to do this? I like to say in the workouts in the morning, I hope this is the hardest thing you've done today. I hope that the breath in your lungs reminds you that you have another day of life and another day of purpose. And there will be a day that you cannot do this. Today is not that day. You will strive on. I also have to remember, I'm trying to be the strongest man physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, not only for myself. I have 2 small kids and a wife that are relying on me. They need me to be here. They need me to be the fun dad, but also the disciplinarian dad, to provide shelter, food, comfort, but also love, support. And if I'm not doing that for myself, what value am I to them? So my base note, I guess, is realizing there's a purpose greater than myself. I'm serving others, but also I'm getting stronger so that my family has me. They can rely on me. My coworkers can rely on me. My brothers in the gloom can rely on me. I fall short on a routine basis. But man, those scars are reminders of the things that I did that were failures, but they were, like we like to say, they were waypoints and not endpoints. I learn more from the things that I stumble across and mess up than anything I've done well and done properly. So it's just a reminder that it ain't about me, and it's about the guys next to me and beside me. And Pringles, as a first responder, you see it firsthand. But I want to know, I mean, we've talked about your next endeavors and where you're going next. And what really drew you towards that as kind of your next chapter and the purpose? Because I wonder if 25 years ago you would have said, yeah, that's where I see myself in 25 years, or if this kind of manifested over the past few years. But how did this become kind of your next chapter in that purpose? Did it come by happenstance, or did you seek it, or did you find a need and fill it?
Yeah. I would say, to be more concise, I think it is the finding the need and to fulfill it. It's a rightly regarding one's self to say, I think this is what I need to do, and kind of put yourself out there, but not in an arrogant, look at me, hey, let me take care of this for you. But this is where I feel, to be very frank, this is where I feel God is leading me to. So now it's a neglect of purpose if I was to say, nah, I don't want to. Yeah, that's not cool. You want to talk about purpose, and I think that's one of my biggest driving forces. We as men have lost sight of that.
That's it. Well, TB, I don't know if I could say it any more eloquently than Pringles there. This is one of those conversations that you never plan, and when you have them, you think, all right, I get it. I have something bigger out there on the horizon. Regardless of how hard it is right now, the sun will rise tomorrow. We will get through this dark night tonight, and tomorrow. 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and the sun's coming up tomorrow. Somewhere it's coming up. So, Tommy boy, I appreciate the heck out of you, man. I appreciate you being there beside me, my battle buddy, when I need it. Even when I don't think I need it, that's when I need it the most. Pringles, thank you for the right? That's it. Pringles, thank you for the words of encouragement, kind of some support there, but also the encouragement to run through that brick wall, to be that somebody. Somebody should pick up that trash. Somebody should help out in the community. We'll be that somebody. And would you rather be an asset or a liability? Would you rather hire an asset or a liability? I'd rather have the asset. And knowing that there are men out there like you, like your brothers that you work out with in the gloom every morning, gives me hope for the future. Gives me a hope for the future for my children, for my children's children. The only way we're going to change this world is by each one of us stepping out and being that somebody, and remembering we don't have to do this. We get to do this. Every day we get to do this. And once we change our mindset from the victim mentality of woe is me and somebody should do, no, find that need and fill it. You are well equipped to be that guy, to be that asset. So don't apologize for being an asset and stepping up. Do it. And don't read your own press clippings. You mentioned that before. We're going into the Super Bowl, Tommy boy. Your team is most likely going to be in the big game. And I guarantee you they are not reading the press clippings of how good they are. They are realizing that we could get beat any given Sunday. So, Ben, thank you so much. Tommy boy, it's always an honor to co-host next to you. Last words are yours, my friend.
Pringles, just want to say thanks for reaching out. I knew that the moment I read your words that this would turn into a great conversation. And secondly, that it wasn't a conversation that we needed to keep to ourselves. So thanks for being bold and allowing us to host you on the show, but for speaking up for yourself and for others. Keep doing what you do. I know that we're going to keep digging deeper on this topic, and I hope that you'll come back on and be a part of that process because it is a process. And until that time comes, let's keep making sure that we're reminding ourselves and others to be an asset and never an ass hat. In other words, be good or be good at it.
Love you,
we'll
man.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.